She's got a grenade. She's got an RKG Russian grenade. She's saying to the kid.
Actions of Iran have shocked the civilized world.
Our embassy has been seized and more than 60 American citizens.
When I was in my early 20s and my agent called me, I'll never forget the way she kind of explained the role. She's like, well, I have an offer on the table for you, Ali, for suicide bomber number 3. Now, at that time, I was young, fresh out of school. I took the job. I got my ACTRA permits. That's how I got my ACTRA quote-unquote card. That's how I got into the business.
He was trained to kill.
Suicide bomber number 3. In the movie Traitor with Don Cheadle.
I've always been an actor, and I found that when I really got back into the industry after I had my first daughter, where I was, seeking representation and really trying to put myself out there, a lot of the roles that I was getting were sister of a terrorist, wife of a terrorist, always had to have an accent, hijab. And so it evolved from, the terrorist roles to the refugee roles. So last year, most of my Middle Eastern auditions were refugee roles. Almost like 99% of them were refugee roles. So I always had to have a hijab on. I always had to have an accent. So I'd be calling my mom, be like, can you say this? Can you say this now? And so I can sound like my mother.
Jihadist, terrorist, and to the point, I'll never forget, I went to this one audition. And, you're an actor and you want to know the depths of things and you want to play the thing correctly. And the character was, he was an Arab. And they wanted the character to speak Arab. Now, I'm from Iran, I'm Persian. We don't speak Arabic. We don't. So you walk into the audition room and the casting director is there in front of me. And she's like, hey, Ali, can you do this in Arabic? I'm like, I don't speak Arabic. She's like, well, what do you speak? And I said, I speak Farsi. She goes, okay, yeah, do it. It's the same. And I said, no. It's not the same. It's different. So I think it was that moment for me. And that was about 3 years into really being a professional, where I said to myself, no, I'm not doing this anymore. It otherizes you, even when there is a Muslim representation that isn't terrorist-like or nefarious. It's exoticized. It's like, ooh, who's this person who makes up 24% of the population of the world? Who's this?
Do not them! Don't say a word! Tell them nothing!
This is ridiculous. He's not a terrorist.
That's for a court to decide.
They're not portraying Muslims in a positive light. They're just creating these stereotypes and they're pushing that. And then Hollywood takes that, or filmmakers take that, and then they put that in their films. And then people who've never met a Muslim before, they'll watch the news and they'll watch these films or television shows, and that's their portrayal of of Muslims. And that's what they think, and they think we're the enemy. I remember going to Cancun on vacation with my husband, and this guy from Alberta started talking to us, and we had been chatting up people from New York, and when he found out I was Muslim, he took the girl away from me and he said, don't get on a plane with her.
Art matters. Art shapes what we see, what we do, how we behave. I am a huge proponent of that idea. Think about this. The belief that we have that you can walk into a coffee shop, stare into the distance, meet somebody, and just through a look, fall in love and begin the journey of happily ever after is a construct and an idea of love, of art. And it is still perpetuated in the music we listen to, in the movies we see, in the books we read. So if art can teach us how to love, art indeed can teach us how to hate.
How do we deal with homegrown violent jihadists? By targeting the most radical individuals to preempt their acts of terror.
I did this play for the Mervishes called Disgraced, speaking of art, by Ayad Akhtar, Pulitzer Prize winning play, Pakistani American. And the whole premise of the play is that regardless of the spectrum of Islam that you're on, whether you're an apostate or an imam, you're disgraced. You are less than. So I really do believe that to be on any spectrum of Islam, you are and will continue to be less than. And in terms of like Hollywood, I mean, you know, we have Riz Ahmed, who I love, and I'm so grateful for everything that he's doing and that he's, you know, voicing what he voices. But still to this day, like, you'll get an audition, for instance, right? And you're playing like the best friend of like the cool white guy.
Yeah.
One day, I would love the cool Muslim guy to have a best friend who's looking up to him.
I got fired.
Huh?
I'm not working right now.
What? What's not?
What did you do now?
Don't make it my fault. You know, they tell you when you're acting, you bring yourself to that character. That character, you know, like, and I want to be able to do that. Most the Arab actors in there are my family members, but behind the scenes, I had some Arab creators, you know, working with me, and it was great. You know, my father is in my second episode. He stole the show. Like, he couldn't read my script. I said, you know what, just yell at me the way you yell at my sister, but about this. And he was like, okay. And then he just, you know, was such a great actor. And I feel like people love that episode just for him. And it was fun to like, my script supervisor, she's Lebanese, and she was like laughing so much when we did this scene. And she said, it felt like home. And so many people who have seen the show were like, I related to your character more than I've related to any other Muslim character on TV right now.
Julie, you're not the one who should feel stupid. He's the one who should feel stupid. Normal people don't behave that way.
Julian, we all have a story.
I'm a very hopeful guy. I think what is important is to really push forward with this. Recognize that there's a problem, but recognize that the problem is there because of the power that is inside the entertainment industry. So that power hasn't gone away. It's just how we use that power now. So it could be like this thing that we could feel really down about it, or we could see this as a real opportunity now to tell the stories that shape society in a way that is better.